This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some big update to share with you. President Biden just blamed Joe Manchin for the lack of a child tax credit and the stimulus reconciliation deal, which sits idle in Congress. Biden administration is also appealing the mask mandate ban, the largest guaranteed income program, paying $500 a month to 5,000 people. Application starts on Monday. I'll give you the latest on the state stimulus checks, and Congress is also working on a $52 billion bill, and I'll give you details on that, plus some other important updates. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 to my subscribers. I'll talk more about that later on in the video, but first, Biden indirectly blames Joe Manchin for demise of the monthly child tax credit, lumping him alongside the GOP. So I'll go over exactly what he said here, but Biden cast blame on Manchin and the GOP for expiration of the monthly child tax credit, saying we lack one Democrat and 50 Republicans, although it's probably two Democrats, including Kirsten Sinema, and the end of the temporary program led to a surge of child poverty, wiping out its gains within a month. So Joe Biden had an announcement or had an event in Auburn, Washington state. The president said child poverty had dropped 40% while the one-year expanded program was in effect. An overwhelming majority Democrats favored renewing the program as part of the House-approved Build Back Better plan. The federal program issued up to $300 monthly checks per child for most families, but Manchin opposed the sprawling bill and sunk it late last year. President Biden exactly said is we lack one Democrat and 50 Republicans from keeping it from passing this time around, but it really fundamentally changed the lives of millions of people. So let me know, child tax credit, should that have been passed as a standalone bill? Was it Manchin's fault? A lot of blame to go around, but probably is Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema's fault. But if it was so important, the child tax credit, why not just have it as a standalone bill to help out with child poverty rather than lump it in with a lot of stuff that maybe other people don't like? Also, Biden's climate agenda still stuck in the Senate despite months of wooing key lawmakers. So the climate agenda, which is also known as the Build Back Better, also known as the Stimulus Reconciliation, also rebranded now as the Building a Better America. Although President Biden is going around the country touting this new bill, really, he only needs to appeal to just one or two people, Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Republicans are not on board with that yet. And time is running out, too, to have the stimulus reconciliation where the Democrats want to pass whatever stimulus they can without any Republican support. Once the midterms happen and if the House and Senate shift, then they're not going to have a chance to do that anymore. So also, Biden administration will appeal transportation mask mandate decision. So probably heard mask mandates not really a thing for transportation, but Biden administration is trying to appeal that, although some states and universities and airports are still including it in there. So LA County reinstates mask mandate for LAX, buses, trains, taxi, and rideshare services. So although it is a federal ban, I guess certain cities and states could do whatever they want. Take a look at this video clip right here talking more about that.
The pandemic and the latest whiplash over masks. Two major cities reversing course. This as cases and hospitalizations are ticking back up. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
Tonight, a reversal on mask mandates from coast to coast, just days after Philadelphia ordered masks back on indoors because of surging COVID cases. The city today with that about face, now lifting the requirement as COVID numbers start to improve.
With hospitalizations coming down, we feel comfortable saying, this is not a free-for-all, take off your masks. This is we're going to strongly recommend this rather than require it.
The move leaving many confused.
Can you wear it? You're supposed to wear it. Somebody needs to make a decision, mask or no mask.
And in Los Angeles, exactly the opposite.
Yeah, we need to wear them again.
After dropping the mask mandate on public transit on Tuesday, Los Angeles once again reinstating it at airports and on buses, trains, and in taxis.
Get it together. Make sure that it's a clear message for everybody across the board.
LA health officials say they'll follow the experts at the CDC who recommend masks during travel, despite that ruling from a Florida judge.
For a court to come in and interfere in that is really unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it's against public health principles, number one. And number two is because that's no place for the courts to do that.
And Dr. Fauci also out with news about when we might see kids under the age of 5 eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. He says regulators are debating whether to authorize the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine at the same time, which means we could see the FDA sign off in June.
So what are your thoughts on that? Mask on, mask off? I know this. I ask this often, but it's usually when things are changing in the environment, right? So we had this big bend, and then we had some surges in the past. Where are we at right now? So these are the reported cases right here. So yesterday was 69,000, which is pretty low if you look at this huge peak, which we went through just a couple of months or just 4 months ago in January, right? But it's a lot lower than it was even last year. It could be because not as many cases are being reported because of at-home tests, but let me know your thoughts on that. And when it comes to stimulus, so stimulus checks aren't to blame for inflation, Andrew Yang says, while advocating for free money for Americans. So basically saying that stimulus checks did not cause inflation, that there are other variables to it, according to Andrew Yang, who wants to have universal basic income for everybody. Basically, that means having free checks on a monthly basis to cover the essentials, and then people won't have as much stress and could focus on other things. So speaking of guaranteed income programs or universal basic income programs, Chicago's guaranteed income pilot opens Monday. Here's how to apply. So this is going to be the largest one in the country. It is, so there's a few things to for people to apply. Basically, 18 years old and household income at or below 250% of the federal poverty level. For a household of 3, the total income cannot exceed $57,000, and a few other things. So if you want to apply, applications are open April 25th and then close May 13th, and there's a website. So if you just if you live in Chicago, you can just go to Chicago website, and universal guaranteed income, and you can find it that way. Basically, the way it's going to pay out is $500 monthly checks for 1 year, but it's going to 5,000 low-income Chicagoans. So it's a lot of people. So if you live in Chicago, definitely take a look at that. And then major city to give parents $1,000 per month for 2 years. So this is going on in Baltimore. So Baltimore families in need can take part in this. So it's going to parents, going to get $1,000 every month for 2 years, no strings attached. And I think it's just going to parents. Just going to parents. So what's going on there. And then in terms of state stimulus and gas stimulus, I'll give you a quick update on that. So states where residents can still see stimulus checks. So what's going on here? New York has $2 billion set aside for excluded workers fund. And then that's for anybody who made less than $26,000 in 2020. Idaho giving $75 to residents. Georgia giving $250 and $500 checks. Indiana giving $125 checks. New Mexico giving $250 and $500 checks. Connecticut ended their gas tax suspension until June 30th. Maryland ended theirs. They were supposed to renew it. It ended on April 18th last week. They haven't renewed it yet. Maine is going to give out $850 checks. New Jersey will give $500 checks. And yeah, so that's the latest with that. And then stimulus update, your best bet for stimulus may be your tax refund. So if you didn't file your taxes yet and you're still owed stimulus, the IRS actually extended the deadline. Although it was April 18th, the IRS is going to extend it longer so that more people who didn't get their stimulus checks for dependents, child tax credits, all that, you could still claim it, still have time for that. And then stimulus, is there going to be a $1,250 stimulus check? So I spoke about this yesterday, but there's a ton of headlines. Now this is like the new trend, the $1,250 stimulus check. So this is the Mitt Romney plan, the Family Security Act. And yeah, if you have any kids, the max you could get per month is $1,250, kind of like a child tax credit, although it's not going anywhere. So, but I'll keep you updated if it gains any traction in Congress. Speaking of Congress, so Congress works to cut a deal on $52 billion in funding for semiconductor industry. This is supposed to change our economy and help our economy for the better. Take a look at this video clip right here explaining more.
Congress will be back in session from a recess next week. One of the top items on the agenda, a bill that would dedicate $52 billion to making more semiconductors here in America. U.S. scientists invented the tiny computer chips, but most of them are now made in Asia. 30 years ago, the U.S. accounted for 37% of the global semiconductor production, according to the Biden administration. Today, it's just 12%. Now chip makers pushing lawmakers to bring manufacturing back to America. In Albany, New York tonight, here's CNBC senior congressional correspondent Elon Moy.
The nanotech research facility here in Albany, New York, is one of the most advanced semiconductor labs in the world. This is where engineers from companies like IBM, Samsung, and Applied Materials test and develop the tiny chips at the heart of modern technology. Why are semiconductors so important?
So, semiconductors have become part of our everyday life and everything we do, right? Whether it's driving to work in our cars, using our cell phones, which everyone does all the time.
There's a good chance the chip inside the device you're watching right now was designed inside this lab 5 to 7 years ago. The chips these massive machines are working on today will power the next generation of technology.
This technology is several years from being manufactured and put in a lot of our items that we use at home, but the last generation obviously is being manufactured now, and this is in preparation for what's to come.
So I'm holding the future right now.
You are holding the future.
But while the research is happening here in America, the majority of the manufacturing is overseas. And the nation's top business leaders are warning America is losing a critical competitive advantage.
I think the U.S. can correctly take credit for inventing the semiconductor industry back in the 50s and 60s, and then on with the competitiveness in the 70s. So the fact that we lack manufacturing and we lack the leading edge nodes here is, to me, horrifying.
That's why more than 50 companies and research universities are joining forces to ask Washington for help. They're pushing for billions of dollars in federal incentives to build more semiconductor fabrication facilities in America. And this lab is lobbying to become an official research hub, a designation that could mean more funding, more jobs, and a growing economy.
What are your thoughts on that? Should the U.S. bring manufacturing and other jobs back to the U.S. rather than outsourcing it across overseas? Let me hear your thoughts on all of that. That is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hey guys, how are you doing? I just want to say something just quick for you. I just want to say that be humble and do things that you've always been wanting to do. And the things that you have not been, just leave that behind. And also, be grateful what you have. Be what you want. Be what you want it to be like.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your support. And I really mean it when I say I appreciate your support, because I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much for your time and watching. I put a lot of work into these videos. I try to make it as fast as possible, cut out the fluff, let you know exactly what's going on and give you the truth. Also giving out $200 checks. Check out the description if you want more info on that. Right after this video, I'm going to take my daughter Kalea to the playground. It's a beautiful day out today here in Myrtle Beach, so just going to go play. I just love watching her smile and laugh. It's like the best thing ever. But anyways, hopefully you have a great weekend. If you want to check out my latest pickleball video, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.